Hey, 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 welcome back. We are doing Saxon Lesson 5 about fractional parts. Your objectives are right here. Let's go ahead and do a couple examples of them. First, before we do examples, the fun fact of the day is that a sneeze travels out of your mouth at over 100 miles per hour. So that's pretty gosh darn fast whenever you decide to sneeze. Alright, now let's go ahead and get on to the examples. Alright, example 1 says there were 30 questions on a test. 1/3 of the questions were true-false, and 2/5 were multiple choice. And letter A asks how many questions were true-false. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start with letter A here. I'm going to put it in red because I got some things I need to know about this problem. I want to know how many were true-false. So in the problem up at the top, I'm going to underline that in red. 1/3 of the questions were true-false because I need to know that for this problem. Okay, I know that 1/3 of the questions were true-false. Okay, 1/3 of the questions were true-false. Well, this is 1/3. Of in math means times, and I know how many questions there were. 30 questions is how many were on the test. So 1/3 of those are true-false. Well, 1/3 of 30, put this over 1, okay, we can do 30 over 3, because 1 times 30 is 30, 3 times 1 is 3, that gives me 10 were true-false. Okay, 1/3 of the 30, 10 questions were true-false. Again, that word of means multiply, 1/3 times 30. Now you could have also cross-canceled, would have gotten you the same answer. And let's go ahead and go blue for part B. It says how many were multiple choice? Well, I know 2/5 of the questions, were multiple choice. Okay, so again, that's 2/5 of means times the total questions. I'm going to go and put my 30 over 1 again right away. Okay, well, 2 times 30, that's 60. 5 times 1 is 5, and 60 divided by 5 is 12 multiple choice. So I have 12 multiple choice questions. Again, you could have cross-canceled here. Now some of you might be saying, well, Mr. Ayers, there's 30 total questions. If 10 are true, false, and 12 are multiple choice, that's only 22 questions. That doesn't equal 30. Okay, but there's nothing in the problem that doesn't say there might be short answer questions, essay questions, something else. It doesn't say that all the questions are one of these two types. Okay, so these don't have to add up to the total in this problem, because again, we could have some essay questions, okay, or some matching questions or something else. And let's go ahead and go on to example 2. Okay, example 2 says arrange these fractions from least to greatest. We got 3/6, 3/5, and 3/8. Well, let's imagine for a second, oops, sorry, I didn't mean to move that. Let's imagine for a second that we've got some pizzas here, and we'll try to make them about the same size. Okay, if I take those pizzas, and this one's telling me I divide it up into 6 pieces, okay, so I'm going to try to divide this up evenly into 6 pieces. 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so it'll be about like that. Okay, this one here, I'm going to leave the 5 pieces. I'm going to go ahead and go with the 8 pieces, because 5 pieces are tough to draw. Well, what do we know about fractions? Okay, if I take something and split it up, the more times I split it up, the smaller those pieces get. Okay, so for example, this one that's split into 8 pieces has smaller slices than the one that's split into 6 pieces. Okay, because the same size pizza is being divided up less times. Alright, so when we've got the same number shaded, or the same number right here, okay, 3 out of 6, we know that that's half of this pizza. Okay, whereas 3 out of 8 will go right here. Okay, 3 out of 8 is not half a pizza. That's not the same amount. Okay, so 3 out of 8 is less than 3 out of 6. Again, when the top numbers are the same, the more pieces that are divided up into, that's the smaller number. So 3/8 is smaller because those 3 slices are smaller because there's 8 of them in that pizza. Okay, then 3/6 would be next because it's got the next smallest number of pieces. 3 of those pieces are going to be a little bigger than the ones that were divided up into 8. And then 3/5 is going to be the biggest. Okay? Now if you struggle with that, one way you can always do this too is to make these fractions like decimals. Okay? So if I did 3 divided by 8, that's 0.375. 3 divided by 6 is 0.5. And 3 divided by 5 is 0.6. So you'll notice that these decimals that go with these fractions are in order from least to greatest, which means my list is in order from least to greatest. So that's another way you could do this if decimals make more sense to you. You could make them decimals and then compare. Okay? But again, notice my problem asks to arrange the fractions, so I got to make sure the fractions are part of my answer and not the decimal versions. Okay, so a couple different ways to think about that. Okay? You could also say that 3/8, well, 3 is less than half of 8, 3 is exactly half of 6, and 3 is more than half of 5. So since this is more than half, this is the biggest one. Since this is less than half, this is the smallest one, and this is exactly half. So a bunch of different ways you could do that same problem. Alright, and that is it for the lesson. I am done with my presentation, so I will be answering any questions that you may have during class. Good luck, happy homeworking.